Last week, we covered the Bogosity about the fear-mongering around cell phones causing brain cancer. Not to be outdone by the Council of Europe, the World Health Organization has now weighed in on the issue. One would hope they would have injected real science and rationality into the issue. They didn't. They took the fear-mongering and ran with it. They have now classed cell phone radiation, which is just low-power radio waves, remember, as a carcinogenic hazard in Group 2B, the same category as lead, car exhaust, and chloroform. And they said something else as well. Remember last week when Sanjay Gupta tried to subtly imply that cell phone radiation was like a microwave oven? Well, these guys came right out and said it. Dr. Keith Black, chairman of neurology at Cedars-Sinai, said, "What microwave radiation does in most simplistic terms is similar to what happens to food in microwaves, essentially cooking the brain. So in addition to leading to a development of cancer and tumors, there could be a whole host of other effects like cognitive memory function, since the memory temporal lobes are where we hold our cell phones." Come on! If cell phones did anything even remotely like cooking your brain, they'd at least make your ear warm first. Again, cell phones just aren't powerful enough to do it. The press release talks about results that are subtle and difficult to detect. But cooking isn't subtle. And it's not like the experiments haven't been done. Put a petri dish full of human cells on top of an active cell phone and leave it there as long as you want. The cells will not be cooked. Black also bleated the cry to protect the children. Children's skulls and scalps are thinner, so the radiation can penetrate deeper into the brain of children and young adults. Their cells are dividing at a faster rate, so the impact of radiation can be much larger. So wait, bones attenuate radio waves? If that's the case, then why do we need to use X-rays, potentially dangerous ionizing radiation, to image bones? If Black is correct, shouldn't we be able to construct such a machine using cell phone radiation instead of X-rays? Such a machine would be safer and use less power. If there were any truth to Black's Bogosity, this would have been done a long time ago. Of course, Sanjay Gupta applauded the report, but the less said about him, the better. The report, or should I say bogus press release designed to get attention, reported its results thusly. The evidence was reviewed critically and overall evaluated as being limited among users of wireless telephones for glioma and acoustic neuroma, and inadequate to draw conclusions for other types of cancers. The evidence from the occupational and environmental exposures mentioned above was similarly judged inadequate. The working group did not quantitate the risk. However, one study of past cell phone use showed a 40% increased risk for gliomas in the highest category of heavy users. And then concluded, the evidence, while still accumulating, is strong enough to support a conclusion and the 2B classification. So wait, they admit the evidence is limited for 2 cancers and inadequate for the rest, and they consider one study, one outlier, as the justification for their entire set of conclusions? This one study, by the way, is the Interphone study published last year. It is this study that found the 40% increase in glioma among heavy cell phone users, but that study itself doubted that this was evidence of a link between cancer and cell phone use. It concluded, overall, no increase in risk of glioma or meningioma was observed with the use of mobile phones. There were suggestions of an increased risk of glioma, and much less so meningioma, at the highest exposure levels. However, biases and errors limit the strength of the conclusions we can draw from these analyses and prevent a causal interpretation. So we're back to the evidence for cell phones causing cancer to being diddly minus squat, and the evidence against it being everything we know about physics, biology, and radiation.